Assalamualaikum, good afternoon. I'm Shazlina Zakaria. Tune in MPC Productivity Talk, Series 13th. The 12th Malaysia Plan focuses on selected business sectors to help organizations to improve and remodel their business operations, accelerate digital transformation and sustainability efforts, embrace the new normal. How can the local talents keep up with these changes? We'll discuss more about enhancing future talents to improve productivity right after this. Stay tuned. Welcome to MPC Productivity Talk, Series 13th. We have with us today Encik Ikmal Zofrizal Hamidi, PMO1, Reimagining MTM and People Stream Malaysia Transformer Manufacturing Syndrome Berhad. Welcome to MPC Productivity Talk, Encik Ikmal.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us today despite your busy schedule.
Thank you.
We will be discussing today aligning to 12th Malaysia Plan in focusing on building future skills of Malaysia. Encik Ikmal, we know that the 12th Malaysia Plan is one of the strategies is to enhance the talents of future generations in Malaysia. And as we know, the world, the global crisis affects, and also we know about the changes in the technologies and whatnots to adopt the Industry 4.0 revolution. So, in your opinion, on the overall strategies of 12th Malaysia Plan to enhance the skill of future workforce in Malaysia, so what do you think your early response towards 12th Malaysia Plan? Encik Ikmal.
Thank you, Shazlina, for the question. To start with, the context and the antecedents of the 12th Malaysian Plan, with a focus on the human capital segments, concurrently designed to be viewed as an integrated strategy which explicitly govern and emboldening the talent development position through the lens of industrial perspective. By bridging the elements in developing future talents into the human capital paradigm, this depicts a strong reformation on the context of people's strategy in driving the national agenda, which remodel inclusivity towards balancing their future workforce within the anticipatory labor market trend. The realignment of the labor market in ensuring inclusiveness and sustainable growth posits a strong involvement from the organizational standpoint in transcending human resource position to create a tangible value in stewarding the socio-economic reforms. By virtue of the overarching development on industrial revolution within the orbit of the new norm, it nuanced towards a new modeling and originating greater implication towards reimagining how the future workforce would be. Those elementary contended in the touch points denotes a robust interplay on technology intervention and workforce automation adapting to the new productivity measure whilst outweighing labor importance to moderate the global economic's uncertainty to move towards emerging technology. In all, the role of the talent management has emerged as a key determinant in molding impetus to organizational productivity and performance. Within the VUCA environment, technology possesses its value relevance in imparting greater acceleration for the 12th Malaysian Plan, focusing on human capital in transforming the workforce organization. The existence of the technology could move the inertia, managing productivity in stewarding revolution of future-proof sustainable workforce management.
So, Encik Ikmal, we know that technological adoption, for example, new technologies, as I mentioned, like AI, VR, and so on and so forth. So, in the industry, is essential for long-term growth and sustainability. So, can you share your own experience in your own company? How do you build up your employees' capacity and capability in meeting these and changing in meeting these changing norms and uncontrollable external forces? How do you mitigate that?
I would say it is quite an experience. One of the critical paths on the workforce intervention is to elevate the development of the strategy, especially with regards to the technology adoptions, to move towards emerging development. Demystifying the misconception of the technology generalizability in managing the productivity outcome of the non-regulated behavior, it would cause an influence on how the technology should be accepted to address the current competency requirements. With the globalization impact and the industrializations, it prevails and overrules towards technology emergence, which modeling new humanization experience, especially in the workforce development. With the new revolution, I believe that the technology assimilation would govern a myriad of implications, especially in reforming the approach, how the work and activity should be conveyed, especially in managing the dynamics and transcending the workforce value. Some of this has been recorded as a critical challenge that narrates unreceptiveness of the employee to engender technology therein. Notwithstanding, the competency development strategies with specific reference on technology capabilities interchangeably impact the development and the workforce competency in moderating modern technology. This consequently, I would say, would impact the absorption of the capability as how the technology would align to the requirement of the workforce requirement. And this limitation would be a challenge, especially in managing the deficiency of skills and competence to inhibit the capabilities' bench strength. In accelerating the behavioral technology acculturation process, the organization, I would say, shall evaluate the technology reliability in line with the competency design to ramp up its change lines, and hence, in redesigning the interoperability within the technology development, the organization is proposed to undertake in-depth assessment on the behavioral adaptation and skills reform, managing the workforce performance based on the technology measure. The hybrid configuration of technology posits unconditional development, which contemporaneously sustain the technology advantage, encompassing the future of work, untrammeled in the context of organizational effectiveness, autonomous change, and technology innovation based on its path dependence. The technology might condense towards a quasi-evolutionary characteristic which impart essential interdependency in enabling the evolutionary change, managing future workforce forward.
So you do conduct a training needs analysis consistently to ensure that your employees are current to the technology's demand?
I believe that to address the question, we are still developing our instrument in assessing the technology capabilities, mapping to the training requirements as it is. However, we know that with the emerging practices of the technology development, it is one of the area of interventions that we will explore to actually to map up the current capabilities within the infrastructures and organizational system. So this is one of the key strategies that has been planned within the Reimagining MTM, which we believe that will help us to ramp up the organizational strategy forward within the context of technology performance. And I believe with the design of the right 10A and 10I, this is also one of the contributing factors that will structure our capability development program aligned to the productivity needs. Perhaps that we have a better view on this. Basically, that the training need assessment is one of the mechanisms that we use to actually to address the skill gaps. And basically, part of the training intervention, we will try to relate those elements for the training programs to manage those expectations, managing the skill gaps.
We're going to ask Encik Ikmal more on future talents, but we're going to have a short break right after this. Welcome back to MPC Productivity Talk Series 13. We are still with Encik Ikmal to discuss on building future skills to improve productivity. Well, Encik Ikmal, in your opinion, issues on gap in the ecosystems of TVET and lack of access to quality education are some of the issues that have been discussed in the some of the authorities. Okay, so it has been brought forward as a continuous agenda from the Malaysia plans. And in your opinion, what are the immediate initiatives that these authorities should undertake to address these challenges? Your opinion.
One of the key strategy that can be considered is by bridging the industry involvement to revisit the current TVET program by assessing the dynamics and quality of the program relevant to the market demand and practice. There is a need to further assess the context of the occupational standard by enhancing the current TVET norms and module to revitalize the vocational training and its value relevant. This is in line with the ever-changing demand on occupational requirement, embracing technological change, new industry development age, and delivering industrial competitiveness towards augmented modalities. Emboldened by the challenge, I believe that TVET program would dynamically regaining its competitive demands by inhibiting skills dimension in enabling open technology space and norms. The TVET program could be a leading future-proof academic model that practically remodel the skill element within technology to steer the workforce functional development. Through the reassessment of the module, it would convey a redefined conception of how skill interrelatedness will form a comprehensive outcome that relevant to the industrial needs by measuring the workforce core abilities and competency. The generic operational context under the designated TVET development and modeling shall inflict an operational control where each of these elements should be mapped in accordance to the type of industrial matrices. Notwithstanding, in the process of designing the related TVET information, I believe that technology elements is perceived to be a key enabler to embrace the human competency and strategic capabilities to drive TVET excellence. TVET development shall be assessed and streamlined to ensure integration in bridging the industrial workforce capabilities. This is to enable the performance stamps relevant with distinct value between human and technology, vice versa. Such measures need to be undertaken to ensure consistent application in designing the TVET ecosystem within the industrialization strategy. The TVET governance is pivotal to improve the productivity state. The context of the TVET modules shall correlate to technology to improve the capability outcomes. In ensuring the 12th Malaysian Plan could deliver a significant impact towards workforce value creation, it is important to advocate the role of technology in securitizing the future talent delivery through a structured TVET development program. All organizations shall mitigate the reliability on technology development, particularly with regards to the information pertaining to technology acquisition. It is important to outweigh technology application and workforce development strategy based on the level of competitiveness. The technology performance indicator has to be evaluated through TVET applications and modules to provide an absolute manifestation on the assessment, which contemplates an evaluation of the infrastructure and ecosystem on how the workforce capability could be enhanced. In the absence of the evaluation of the human resource strategy through the TVET program, I believe that it consequently uncertain in quantifying the workforce value to support the industrial requirement, which resulted towards an undue competition between labor market, factoring the internal and external conditions. This would cause a diminishing impact to the development of the HR strategies in devising the competency development plan. The disposition of technology in modeling improvement would essentially enhance the dynamics of the future workforce through its competitive moderation by correlating the effects of technology capabilities and its convergence of the workforce requirement. It would empirically in sync to the industrialization attributes which bearing the global importance. And I believe that with the defined formulation of the TVET program, it will elevate the competency development requirement which align to the industrialization strategy. And this indirectly would embrace a positive alignment to the human capital development governing the operational performance. Notwithstanding, it is observed that due to the heterogeneity in the markets and the technology segmentation, the TVET programs would have an effect to be limited towards unconditional treatment, which might propagandally anecdotal to plot the organizational information. This will directly impair the technology capability, and as a result, the core relevance of the productivity measure may also amplify to revamp the ecosystem through TVET capability in managing the various forward. That is actually my view.
Well, that was a very comprehensive feedback from you, Cik Ikmal, to talk about TVET, to ecosystem, improving the whole value chain of the TVET program. Yeah. Okay. Having said that, your opinion, last words from you, Cik Ikmal. What is your expectation, or what are your expectations from the stakeholders, or from the 12th Malaysia Plan itself, to create a more resilient and more competitive workforce, especially from your, for your companies as well as the nation as in overall? Your opinion, Cik Ikmal.
I believe that the critical facet of the 12th Malaysian Plan shall consider the workforce competency development as the key imperatives in ensuring the technology capabilities and workforce could be synthesized as a key value driving interfacing the human capital transformation. The technology design and development shall condense toward an enzymatic equilibrium within the human skills and capability to ensure it's compatible to the job value. Formulating the competitive stance of the workforce evolutionary model, sanctioning on the dynamics of labor equity and governance, I would say the homogeneity of the behavioral technology shall be comprehensively discussed as a sociological tender to influence the cognitive aspects of the workforce development towards an interchangeable adaptation in converging their psychological value. The context is highly interdependent on the motives and legitimate intent on why and how this technology should be applied in rejuvenating the workforce capabilities forward. To address the question, I would say in assessing the magnitude of the HR strategy design, the behavioral technology implication is one of the debatable arguments that need to be measured in a greater extent, composing the aggregated dimension and polemics of the talent development. Such measurement is hardly to be distinguished by its form due to the centralized subset of the behavioral technology relations and the context of the IR 4.0 standpoint. The exposition of the behavioral technology therein has integrated the principle concentrating on the cause of action, impacting the way how the technology rules. And with the developments and impact, this may constitute a diffusion towards non-bilateral impact, transmitting the human role in performing technology as autonomous partner in controlling the design technology behavior. Such magnitude of human intervention is highly governed through an explicit conditions that elevate human competency and capabilities, moderating towards design productivity and performance. The behavioral technology emerged significantly to install propagative influence to confide the action in managing the workforce capabilities by imposing adaptation towards performance delivery. The overstature of the digitalization age has contemporaneously positioned the organizational strategic priority in deploying technology outcome in culminating non-productive measures. And I believe that digital leaderships, archetypes would navigate transformations in transcending the organizational process and capabilities to remodel the workforce integration towards managing the efficiency and also operational sustainability. The efficacy of the intervention is depending on the process and technology integration to map with the design operational requirement. Some of this non-productive process shall be optimized for productivity enablement. The organizational system, process, and data would enhance the dynamics of the technology and efforts in remedying the operational issue. I believe when we talk about the context of technology and workforce capabilities, it might have a strong impact on the organizational sustainability adoption in ensuring that future workforce could deliver a significant impact towards the organizational performance. It is pivotal to advocate the importance of technology in securitizing the performance through an internal and external assessment. All organizations shall mitigate the reliability of technology, particularly with regards to information pertaining to technology acquisition. It is important to outweigh the technology application and its value creation based on the level of competitiveness. The technology performance indicator has to be evaluated to provide an absolute manifestation on the productivity assessment, which contemplates a workforce evaluation capability and also the requirement in quantifying the involvement of the organizational growth. This would result towards an undue competition between the labor market, factoring the labor and external conditions.
I guess that concludes our discussion for today, Encik Ikmal. Thank you once again for joining us and sharing your insightful thoughts and experience. And we'll see you again in some other occasions in future. That is Encik Ikmal Zofrizal Hamidi, PM01, Reimagining MTM and People Stream Malaysia Transformation Manufacturing Sdn Bhd, the representative from the industry, to feedback on the importance of concerted efforts to improve the future skills of Malaysia, to build the Malaysia future generation in improving our productivity and competitiveness of the country. We'll see you again next week on Friday, 3 p.m. Stay safe, stay productive.